everybody, it's Shuba. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. I am working from home for the rest of the week, and since I'm doing that, I just thought I would start a reading vlog and spend the whole weekend together. I plan on not leaving the house at all up until Saturday. I have my half marathon on Saturday morning. It starts at 7:30, bright and early. It is 13.1 miles, and I will be running it in 3-ish, give a little more or take 3 hours. So yeah, elephant in the room, I'm not sure if you can tell, but I have a slight lisp. Wow. Woof, it's embarrassing. I have Invisalign. Where to even begin? I have an underbite and kind of a crossbite, and my back teeth don't touch, and I've been chipping my front teeth quite a bit. And so before it gets worse, I decided to get Invisalign to fix this and go through the treatment process. And luckily it's only 6 months. I'm hoping that my lisp gets better and goes away, but I felt like I just needed to practice speaking, and what better way than to speak to a camera. I can't really say I'm sorry for this lisp, but I am. I just feel really silly. It's subtle, but I can tell that it's there. Let's talk about the books that I plan on reading this week and into the weekend, however many days we get into. I have 2 books. I started Legendborn on March 1st, since I am buddy reading it with Sully, and then also another YouTuber, her name is Dev. I will link her in the description box down below. She is buddy reading it with us as well. So just 3 girly pops reading Legendborn. So far it is very good. I am 50 pages into it, and it is about a girl named Bree. She is in high school. Her mother passes away in a car accident, and she's really just dealing with the post-trauma and trying to just be a strong individual. She gets accepted into this early program at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. It's for bright high schoolers, essentially. It's 2 years, and she gets accepted and she decides to go with her best friend. The very first night of being there, she is at a party that she shouldn't be at because it is a outside of school activity with alcohol, and people are jumping off cliffs, and but she's just trying to have a good time. You're basically in college, even though she's not. Anyway, she's at this party, and she finds this flying demon that is attacking humans and sucking their souls. So right off the bat, it's pretty fast paced. I really like it so far. I feel like with this character, Bree, she is just going through so much mentally, emotionally, and then all of a sudden she realizes that magic is real, and she is just so confused as to what is happening. But I'm excited to read a little bit more. Like I said, I've just started, so I don't really know much about it. She also learns that there is this secret society called the Legendborn, and there are 2 people within the Legendborn. I forgot their names are Tor and Selwyn Kane. So Tor and Selwyn are a part of this Legendborn society, and I think she's going to start interacting with them, which will be interesting, and we'll get going more into this story. It's very fast-paced already. I just don't want to work, and I just want to read. But I can't do that because I have to make the money. And anyway, so that is the first book that I'm reading, but I'm also reading another book on top of this, kind of going back and forth, since we do have this YA fantasy, which actually it doesn't even read like a YA fantasy. I feel like it just reads more of kind of adult, but it is technically a YA fantasy. And then this other book that I'm reading, it's called In the Distance by Hernan Diaz. This is a historical Western story about a man, and his name is, he goes by the Hawk. His name is Han Kang, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. He is from Sweden, and we start the story off with him and his brother Linus traveling to America, to New York. And while that happens, he gets separated from his brother right in London, like when they're getting on the ship to America. And so Hakan gets on that ship and goes to America thinking that his brother is on the boat, but turns out his brother is not on the boat, and he ends up in California. It's really sad. And so this is a story about just Hakan and his life in the 1800s, just trying to travel from California to New York just to find his brother. And he does not speak English. He is slowly learning English as he goes and starts living in America and meeting people and trying to make his way across the country. This is such a sad story so far, but it's so empowering that just everything that Hakan is going through, he just seems like such an innocent boy who is just trying to find his family, and he knows nobody in this country. He's in a brand new place, and I can't imagine. There's a lot of writing and notes to just being isolated mentally and literally in America, just being isolated and alone, and you can just tell how lonely Hakan is and how much he just wants to make his way across the country. It's very good so far. It's a short read. It's 256 pages. I am currently on 74. I am reading this book for my book club that Rainy Day Books hosts. It's once a month, and it is on April 8th. So it's on Monday. It's coming Monday. So I plan on finishing this book up. I was a little nervous to read this just because I don't normally read anything that's like Western. I just struggle with books that are not just fluffy and fun, but that is my goal that I have for this year, is to read more difficult books, read more profound books, and just learn more. I understand that reading is something that you should be doing for fun, and I totally agree with that, but I also want to sprinkle in a little bit more of books that I don't normally read, so I can step outside of my comfort zone. It's very good. I am pleasantly surprised. I'm very much enjoying this story. I have been annotating a lot just so I can have my notes ready for discussion. And yes, so these are the two books that will be featured in this reading vlog. It is currently Wednesday, April 3rd. I am working. I have a few more meetings coming up, but this evening I just plan on relaxing, reading, making dinner, and going to sleep early since the half marathon is on Saturday. Woof, we are so close. I will get back to work and get to it, and I will talk to you with my first reading update. Talk to you later. Bye. Ollie, come here. Drop. Back up. Back up. Turn. 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 The workday is over, and I wanted to share a couple of new camera pieces of equipment that I got myself this month. I decided to just set you up so we can just chat like this. This is a lot easier. But I got this, it's a wide angle lens. I've always wanted one. I've been looking at a few online for quite some time now, since I am vlogging a bit more, and Mark and I are going on a few trips coming up. So I thought it'd be fun to get one of these. I think this was only like $50 that I bought from Amazon, and it fits perfectly. I'm using it right now, and I had to take a picture on my phone just to kind of see the difference between both of the lenses, because I was unsure if it was doing anything, but it actually is. How cool. I feel like you can see so much more, and it's so clear too. Really liking it so far. The clip of the dogs outside just now is using the wide angle lens. I really like this so far. I will link the Amazon item down in the description box below so you can see it. And then for our trips, I got myself from Art Tribute. It is a vintage camera strap. Since I'm going to be out and about a lot, and if I do want to vlog any of the travel and take videos and clips, I could use it. I really like this. Really pretty, simple, just wear it around my neck. Looking stylish. This last thing that I got is for my iPhone. So actually, I was going back and forth between getting a fisheye lens for my Sony camera or a wide angle lens, and I decided that for daily vlogging and for everything that I'm doing, I would use the wide angle lens more than a fisheye lens. But I still wanted a fisheye lens, and I still want to be able to use it. And when I'm out and about, sometimes I might not take my camera, but I will take my iPhone. So I got myself a little fisheye lens for my iPhone. It's a cute little tiny lens. I could take this around for my fisheye lens. I will link it down below on Amazon. It was also only like $13, a lot cheaper than buying an actual lens to fit it onto this video camera. I'm very excited for this fisheye lens. I think that'll be really fun. How fun. Work is over, and those are the things that I bought, but I did also want to give you a quick reading update. There is a book that I've been trying to read for quite some time now. I've had it for a while, and I just can't get myself into it. And it is The Vegetarian by Han Kang. This is kind of a horror-esque. It's just more, it's like kind of a horror literary fiction, and this is about a girl who has a dream and she decides not to eat meat anymore after that dream. She goes full-on vegetarian. But then the thing is that weird stuff happens within her family dynamics. Her family like tries to have an intervention, and they force feed meat into her, and she tries to kill herself, and then she gets hospitalized. It's very heavy, and we get her point of view only with her dreams, which is what's the weird part of it. The first part of the story is her husband's point of view, so you don't actually get her point of view. And then part 2 is her sister's husband's point of view, who is obsessed with her. So we get his point of view, and he's an artist, and he ends up like asking her to get naked and draw a bunch of different art and flowers on her body. And that's the only way that she can stop herself from having those dreams. Very bizarre. And now I'm on part 3, and I'm so close to being done with the story, and I know that, and I think I just need to suck it up and finish it. I recently got the audiobook for it, so I think I'm just going to finish listening to it and call it good. This third point of view that we have is her sister, so the vegetarian sister and her point of view, because her sister finds her and her sister's husband, like they end up, I don't know, I'm pretty sure they end up banging, and the sister finds them in bed together. That is where I ended off, and I think I just need to finish it. I'm 80% done. I'm not sure what I was expecting. It's bizarre, but in a way that I don't like. I don't like the characters. I don't really like what's happening. It's kind of boring, and it's just a very strange book, and I feel bad for not finishing it. See, this is my problem. I am very much like, you shouldn't read books that you don't want to read, or life is too short to read books that you don't like. But then I own this book, and I have it, and I purchased it, and it is a book by a BIPOC author, so I feel like I should give it a chance and finish it, even though I necessarily don't want to, and I'm very much like, what am I even reading? So I feel bad. And that's why I think I try to find audiobook versions when I don't like an actual book, because with an audiobook I can kind of fade in and out of what's actually happening, especially for a book like this. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this story, and it's so short. I should finish it. I probably should have listened to it while I was running. I ran 2.5 miles, an easy 2.5, since this is my half marathon week. Now I am going to shower and relax and read some more. Talk to you soon. Bye. I'm trying to decide what I want to read this evening. Definitely not The Vegetarian. That is lost cause. I'm just going to finish listening to the audiobook of it and call it good. The cover is really cool though. We have Legendborn, which I am on page 52-ish. So I could read that. And then we have In the Distance, and I am on chapter 8. So around 70-ish pages. I don't want to finish this book too early, just because we do have book club on Monday and I want to remember everything. So I think what I'll do is I'll start with In the Distance. I'll read a chapter 9 or 10, whatever 100 pages is. And then I'll move on to Legendborn, which is what I really want to read. But I got to make sure I keep moving along and in the distance. Very good. I really like it. I'm in the fantasy mood. But when I do pick this up, I'm really immersed in this story and I like it a lot. Just gotta start. You know, this is it. To page 100. I'm on chapter 10. This book is very good. I am not surprised, just because it's a Pulitzer Prize finalist and everyone really knows of this author, but I just didn't expect myself to like it a lot. It's not something that I normally pick up and read, and I probably wouldn't have picked this up if not for the book club that I'm a part of. I really like it so far. We just find our main character, I think I mentioned it, but his name is Han Kang. But he goes by the Hawk because no one can pronounce his name or understand him, because he doesn't really speak English. And he's making his way from California to New York to hopefully be reunited with his brother. And I'm at the part where he's just going through the desert. He meets these Indians with his friend, and they end up helping the Indians, and it was just very sweet. And it makes me really feel and appreciate Han Kang even more, because Han Kang meets some really shitty people in this book. And regardless of that, he is still just a good human being. He's a good man. We don't actually know how old he is by this point. I can't remember if they mentioned it in the beginning of the story or not, but I think he's in his teens. I can't imagine what he is going through, especially being all alone, going through the desert. Very good. Nonetheless, I am very much enjoying it, not in the sense that I like what is happening in the story, because I don't, because a lot of what's happening is very sad. I appreciate the writing style. Hernan Diaz, he's so descriptive in his writing, and a lot of the story is about being alone and isolated in this world. And Hernan Diaz's metaphors are so just painful. Like, you really do feel alone, like you're in Han Kang's shoes. Very much enjoying it. Like I had mentioned before, I have 150 pages left. So I'm going to just keep reading bits and pieces throughout the next few days, and then hopefully I can finish it by Monday. For now, I am going to pick up Legendborn and read as much as I can. I'm gonna read a little bit more and then I will give you my next reading update. Everybody, it is the next day. I just got ready for work, but before I left, I wanted to give you a quick reading update. I read 100 pages of Legendborn. I decided to get the ebook on my Kindle last night so I can read in bed, and I can say that I really like this story. This is a YA urban fantasy, and I was a little nervous because the only urban fantasy that I had read prior to this is the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas, and I did not really like it very much. I was a little nervous because I wasn't sure if I liked urban fantasy in general, but I can happily say that I am thoroughly enjoying this story. The storyline is engaging from page 1. There's monsters. I think the writing is very easy to read and understand, especially when we have a brand new magic system or another world building scenario that is not human related or human world. And I think that Tracy Deonn does such a good job with the world building as well. I am so intrigued, and after 100 pages, I just want to sit at home and keep reading to find out more. With our main character, Bree, she is such a strong character. I am really rooting for her, and she gets accepted to go to this early college program at UNC for bright high schoolers. After everything that happened, this is her way of coping and kind of running away from her past and running away from her feelings and the loss of her mom. She's also running away from her father because he is just trying to be there to support her, but she's pushing those feelings away and hiding them, and she doesn't want to deal with the pain, which is also why she decides to be a part of this accelerated program and leave. It is taking place in a college town, which is really fun. So we do have that academic setting where she's going to classes and whatnot. She unintentionally meets these two Legendborn. From there, she learns about this secret society and how there are specific orders within the university. There's 5 different orders or so, and each one of them is different. The Legendborns are a part of the King Arthur's Round Table order. She finds out that there is a secret society, and this secret society has these Merlins, and she is convinced that her mom's accident was not an accident. It wasn't a car crash, and she might think that a Merlin within the Legendborn secret society killed her mom. So from there, she basically infiltrates the secret society after meeting this guy named Nick, who is her mentor. And she decides that she wants to be a part of the secret society so she can figure out the truth and if the society had something to do with her mom's death. Because she starts talking to Nick and learning a lot more about him, and Nick is the prodigal son of the secret society or something like that. Like, he is meant to be a part of the society, but he pushes back. He, for the past 2 years, didn't want to be a part of it, but he's now going to help Bree. So that's really sweet that she at least has a friend that she can count on and trust and help her navigate through. The magic system is fascinating. Speaking of, so there's a hierarchy within the magic system. You have the Merlins, who are like basically trained since birth to fight off these demons. And these Merlins are magical people essentially, and they use ether from air for their magic and to hone different powers. For example, there's healer Merlins, there's Merlins that can remove your memory. Mesmer, it's called Mesmer. And so they all have different magical abilities, and they're supposed to be super soldiers essentially. And their main goal is to keep order between the human world and, which are called onceborns. The humans are called onceborns. So based on this human world, and keep the demons away from entering the gates into different realms. So that's their whole deal. Since their whole entire goal is to make sure that no one knows about them, Bree is very much like, what if my mom knew about this whole magic system and a Merlin killed her? Wild, right? So now it's like we're solving a murder mystery as well. But now that Bree wants to be a part of the secret society, she is going to be Nick's page. And even within the Legendborn secret society, you can't just be a Legendborn right off the bat. You have to go through these competitions and trials. And I don't really know much about these trials at all. I just know that they're mentioned once or twice. And I believe that we'll get more into these trials as we keep going into this reading. I really do like this story so far. I think that Bree has so much potential, and I am very excited to read more about her. This story is in her point of view. So it's really interesting to just go through this pain with her, but also navigate through this new college setting and this whole magic system. It's very fascinating. Overall, I think that Tracy Deonn just created such a brilliant story right off the bat, and I can't wait to read more. I am hoping to get this story done by the end of this weekend and the end of this vlog. I'm gonna sit and read here for 30 minutes. I think I'm gonna take a pause on Legendborn, and I'm gonna read a little bit of In the Distance by Hernan Diaz, the other book that I'm reading for this vlog, and see how far I get before I have to head to work. Until then, I will see you when I see you. Bye. Hello, we are just getting up close and personal. How? I'm really enjoying my wide angle lens. I'm not sure if you can tell the difference, but I can tell the difference, and it just makes the vibes more fun. I don't know. I'm really into it. Now I'm like, what was life like without a wide angle lens? That's all I see now. Everything is wide angle lensed for me. Anyway, it's been a few hours. It is nighttime, almost 10 o'clock. I came home, I finished up work. Mark and I made dinner, and we watched an episode of Vanderpump Rules. Mark is rewatching Vanderpump Rules. He's never watched it before, and I'm just following along whenever I can. And we just got to Sheena's episode where she gets married. That girl is Bridezilla. See, I love Vanderpump Rules because I love drama, but I don't like being a part of the drama. I like watching the drama, as do most people. And it's just such a good show. It's so fun. We watch the new episodes every Tuesday. Yep, we sure do. So we did that. Mark is playing video games, and I have been reading, and I am officially on page 155. I am really liking this story. I went into it not really knowing much about it, and I had no idea that there are going to be trials within this story and trials within the secret society to kind of go past just being a page, which is what Bree is. She's like the lowest level of tier ranking and hierarchy. And I tend to really enjoy these type of magical stories that are trial based. I really like Serpent and the Wings of Night. I loved Hunger Games. I really liked Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter, because, you know, they had the Triwizard Tournament. They're just so much fun to read from and be a part of. Not literally, but you know what I mean. So I'm really enjoying the story so far. I I'm very much with Bree, confused as to what's happening, and I'm very like sus about it. I am unsure who I can trust and what this secret society really is, especially now that we know that she's the only black girl in this secret society in Legendborn. Literally the only black girl. And one of the characters during initiation had the nerve to say this is the first year they've had the most diversity in their order. So it's really interesting to get her point of view, because she is trying to figure out if Legendborn, the society, had anything to do with her mom's death. And so she's playing along and working with Nick to get initiated, complete these competitions, and move up in the ranking to be a Legendborn. And I guess that's not her main goal. Her main goal is just to figure out what happened to her mom. But in order to do that, she has to play along and be a part of all of this. And so she is. I think that Tracy Deonn just does such a good job with the world building, because she's adding so many like complexities with this secret society. It makes you question them, but also you want to learn more about them and you want to experience their magic. So it's really fun. I am very much enjoying this urban fantasy. I am glad that I picked this up. But my goal is to read another 100 pages. So hopefully by tomorrow I will be at 250 pages. Yesterday and tonight I've been trying to stay up late and wake up early so I can kind of get ready mentally of waking up early. So I'm going to try to sleep and read for another 100 pages and wake up at 5 a.m. so I can start my morning and get some reading in before work. It's going to be great. Until then, nothing else to say. I'm very much enjoying this story. I can't wait to read more. Like, I want to stay up and read. Normally I'm like, okay, it's 9:30, let's go to bed. But I am looking forward to continuing this journey that Bree is on. She is a fun character. It's weird to think that she's only like 16 years old, because she seems a little bit more mature. And like I said, this is YA, but it doesn't really seem YA. I really like it. That's all I have. No issues. No fuss. Just good vibes. It's Friday. We made it. I have been up since 5 in the morning. I went to bed around 11:30 last night. I read so much. I woke up at 5 o'clock because I'm practicing getting up early because I have to wake up tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So I woke up, had some breakfast, and I read for maybe 3 hours until work. I'm on page 300 officially. I read quite a bit, and I am 100%. This book is just so good. 100%. I am enjoying it so much. I really like our main character. I feel so bad for her though. She came to University of North Carolina so she could take classes and get into this early college education program because she's very gifted and smart. And I feel like she hasn't been to a class at all. And all she's doing is learning about the secret society and going through these competitions and trying to figure out her mom's past. And she's not having time to just be a student. And I just feel bad for her. And I know that she's doing this to herself. Like, she's choosing to be a part of all of this. But girlie, you gotta take care of yourself. It's really fun. I am really enjoying getting to know more about the secret society through Bree's point of view. There is so much going on with this secret society, the order. This secret society is based off of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. There are 13 specific knights, and each knight has a specific level of power, and as you get closer to Arthur, as you get closer to number 1, then the stronger you are. They are immortal, these knights are, and with this secret society that we have, these knights have the power to kind of awaken and grant the 13 knights in this order their abilities and strengths and magical powers. And mind you, these 13 knights, and these knights are called scions, and they are very young, and if the knights call upon their descendants, these scions will then gain power and magic to fight our evil demon monsters. So we have those scions, but then underneath that we have pages. Bree is currently a page, and there are these specific pages where you are selected by a scion to kind of be their understudy, I guess, and go through these trials that Bree is going through. And if you get through these trials and you are selected by the scion, then you will be a vessel for that scion. And what that means is that once you are a vessel, then if the knight grants you power, then that specific knight and then that vessel will gain some of that power as well. It's very complicated, but extremely fascinating. And I'm just still so baffled that we're reading about this story that is based off of King Arthur. Just very fun. I used to watch the movie King Arthur all the time with Clive Owen and Keira Knightley. If you've seen that before, I was obsessed with Clive Owen growing up. Also Keira Knightley, obviously. So I had watched that movie so many times. In terms of the trials that Bree is going through, there are officially 3 trials. I have gotten to the second trial. I just finished the second trial, so I think I'm going to get into the third trial shortly. But they are slowly knocking other pages out, and Bree is doing these competitions, and she's never done anything like this before because she is mostly just smart and intelligent. She's not really physical at all, and I know that the third trial is going to be a battle trial, so I think she's going to have some trouble with that. But knowing our main character, she's great and she can figure it out. She's going to be a great page and hopefully a vessel. She's working with Nick. There is this romance between them that's really sweet. I am enjoying those moments of cutesiness between Nick and Bree, especially since there's so much action and knowledge and power and dynamics that we're reading from. We're also getting a little bit of a sprinkle of romance, if you will. And it's been nice to see that because I think that Bree really deserves that with everything that she's going through with her mom's loss and just not being able to open up and trust people as much. She's finally doing that with Nick, and I think it's very sweet. So I do really enjoy that. Another thing that I really appreciate that I do want to touch on is the diversity that we have and representation that we have within this story. Bree is obviously a Black woman, so we do see her as that main character, which is really cool, and she is a smart and independent woman who can take care of herself, and we do love that. But also Bree's best friend, Alice, is Taiwanese American. On top of that, we have some queer characters and non-binary characters as well. So it's nice to see this full representation and not just having just white people. And I think that she did this on purpose just because the secret society, the order that we have, King Arthur's order, and these Legendborns, they're young white men, most of them. It's really nice to see that regardless of that white hierarchy and patriarchy that we have with Legendborn, we are still seeing a lot of that representation with other characters that may not be within Legendborn, but Bree is interacting with and she's friends with and close to. So I really do appreciate that. I think that it really adds to the story and the characterization, and we deserve to see that diversity and inclusion in stories. Another thing that I want to talk about that I really think is fascinating that our author does really well is a nod to Black history. So we go back in time a little bit and do have this time travel aspect and experience, and learning a little bit more about the South and how Black people were treated. But what's different about that is it's so magical. She adds all these magical elements and this magical realism to it. And I really like how she does that, because none of what she's doing in speaking of, is made up. I mean, the magical aspect of it is, but the oppression that we do have and the history with the Southern Black folk and how they're treated is real. So she's not lying in what she's writing about. I just think she does it so well, intertwining the real life aspects and what actually happened within history and creating this whole story with magic and adding to that. I really do enjoy that. I honestly have nothing bad to say about this story. 10 out of 10. I am enjoying it a lot and I just want to keep reading. I'm going to take a break right now to go pick up my race stuff since I have some time and no more meetings for the rest of the day. So I have to do that, and I think I'm going to stop by a coffee shop and get a little work done and hopefully read a little bit too. I'm doing nothing besides reading this evening and relaxing. But overall, I have 200 pages left and I have nothing bad to say. I think that there's mystery, there's history, there's magic, and the story is very fun and only positive things to say about this. I am enjoying it a lot. That was a lot of speaking. That is all. I am going to pack up my stuff and then head out the door, and we'll see where the rest of this day takes us. Bye. Hours later, actually a whole day later since I've last talked to you. I did it! Look at me go! I had been told by quite a few people that the race is a lot more fun and a lot easier than training actually goes, and that I'm gonna really enjoy it a lot. 13.1 miles. Right? It was miserable. It was awful. I'm never doing it again. I think the first 10K was a lot of fun. It was windy and my hips and my calves were so sore. I'm done and I did it, and I'm so proud of myself for completing the half marathon, especially in the time period that I had set my goal for. My goal was to finish it in 3 hours, and finished it in 3 hours. Technically 3 hours and 1 minute, but we don't need to worry about that minute. Overall, I'm really proud of myself. But will I ever run a half marathon ever again? No. And I know that people are like, oh, you say that once and then you run a half marathon and then you'll keep running them. No, I will not be. Never. No. After the half marathon, Mark and I just relaxed. We watched one of the season reunions of Vanderpump Rules, and I finished Legendborn. Let me grab that. I finished it. I loved it so much. That last 100 pages, my jaw was dropping constantly. Left and right, things were happening. The plot escalated so fast. It was so good. I loved it so much, and nothing bad I can say about Legendborn. It was brilliant. Oh my gosh. Overall, I just think that this magic system is fascinating and beautiful, and how she intertwines nature in this magic system is very cool. You'll have to read for yourself to understand that part. But I also really appreciate how she takes history, especially systemic racism and oppression, and adds magic to it and talks about the South and how Black people were mistreated and all of the things that happened within history, but she adds a magical element and twist to it, and I think that it was just written so well. She did such a good job, and I keep saying that, but I have nothing bad to say about this story. Legendborn was so good. The characters are all characters that you can root for. You really like Bree, and you want her to succeed, but also you really like Nick. He is great. And then Cell is another character. He is a Merlin within Legendborn, and he is such a cool character. Reminds me kind of Rhys-Ann from ACOTAR. All the other characters too, and I know how I mentioned this previously, but Tracy Deonn introduces these characters, and they're all so unique and bring something different to the table, literally, because, you know, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. And I like how she has those characters being represented in terms of diversity, and I just think that it's just such a good story. I really enjoyed it. I couldn't put it down. I woke up this morning at 4:45 because I woke up early and I couldn't go back to sleep. My alarm was set for 5 anyway, and I read before the race, and then I came home and I finished this after the race, and it was so good. Hope you all read it and you enjoy it as much as I did, because this story was brilliant. So brilliant, and I cannot wait to pick up the second one. I don't own it, but maybe I deserve a book because I finished a half marathon, don't you think? I feel like I left you all hanging with the second book that I was reading in this vlog, and it's In the Distance. I just have been very anxious this week, and I wanted to read something fun and something that I know I could get away from, like in terms of reality, and just not worry about my half marathon, which is why I flew through this story. But I still need to read In the Distance. I'm on page 100, so I have 150 pages left. Not that much left. I have to read it before Monday evening, so I'm gonna read a little bit today and then hopefully finish it tomorrow, and that is when we'll also conclude this vlog. But that is all I'll say about Legendborn. Read my book, and I also have One Tree Hill in the background. I'm rewatching it right now. I'm on season 6, I think. It's one of my favorite shows. Such a good rewatch. I'm gonna go and continue reading, and I will talk to you later when I share my reading update for In the Distance, and hopefully it'll be the last reading update of this vlog. Bye! Hi everybody, I was editing this video and I realized that I never gave you my final thoughts on 2 of the books that I had mentioned. I'm not going to talk about Legendborn because we all know how I felt about it, but The Vegetarian, I did mention this in the middle of this video and I did finish it. I ended up listening to the audiobook. I could not care less for this story. I really basically DNF'd it, and I'll talk more about this in my reading wrap up at the end of the month, but not my cup of tea, and I'm honestly not sure what I read. We'll leave it at that. And then I did end up finishing In the Distance by Hernan Diaz last night. I read it while listening to the audiobook, and it was very good. I believe I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this story. I think it's so compelling, and the writing is beautiful, and it's so descriptive, especially when we're talking about the desert and the vast lands and just Earth in the 1800s. I think that it was just very beautiful, and I really liked our main character, Han Kang. He was someone you could really root for, and the ending was not what I expected. and I'm still not sure about it. I'm looking forward to talking about it during book club, which is tonight, that I will be going to. But overall, beautiful story. I think you should definitely pick this up. I would not have read this if it was not for book club, and I am so glad that I ended up reading it. It was really good, and I really need to pick up his other story. I know this is his debut novel, and recently he came out with Trust, which I'm not even sure what that is about either, but that's the beauty of it. Didn't know what the story was about, and it was a Western, and I enjoyed it a lot. So I'm looking forward to reading more of Hernan Diaz's work. But yes, I loved it. The characters, Hakan meets some of the sweetest characters, some of the most awful characters, and he builds beautiful friendships with some people and animals. Shout out to Pingo. Rest in peace, Pingo. We love Pingo. But overall, enjoyed it thoroughly and definitely recommend. And with that, I'm going to leave this vlog here. Thank you so much if you made it this far with this vlog. I know this is one of my longer videos that I've ever created, but I just had a lot of feelings and I wanted to talk to you about Legendborn, and I really liked it. I will see you in my next video, and until next time, bye.